Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles now, CJ Gardner-Johnson is leaving Philadelphia and signing with the Detroit Lions. What happened in contract negotiations? We're going to talk about that, and of course, now the Eagles have a need at that safety spot. We'll take a gander at the safety options available in free agency as well as the NFL draft. Before we get started, though, help me out. I really want you to share this video to let your friends and family members know that what we do here on Philadelphia Eagles now is completely unique, and last week our free agency coverage really does prove that. Couple of ways for you to do that. You can click that share button here on YouTube. You can select the Twitter icon to tweet it out as well. You can post it on Twitter, and if you tag me at Chase_Senior, I'll give you a retweet. I'll give you a shout on Twitter. I greatly appreciate it. So do that, share the video, and with that, let's start Philadelphia Eagles now here on this Monday. So we begin with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The news coming down late last night that he is signing with the Detroit Lions, a one-year contract worth up to a maximum of $8 million. But why are the Eagles not bringing him back? Well, they did try. We'll talk about that more just around the corner. Before we get started, though, thanks to everybody who subscribed to the channel last week during week 1 of NFL free agency. A couple of live shows that were off the chain. I think we did 14 videos last week as well. We do shows every single day on Eagles now, but when big weeks like last week happen, we're your one-stop shop. We are closing in, too, on 43,000 subscribers. Subscribe right now if you haven't already done so. We appreciate the support. So the immediate reaction from me last night, once I saw the report that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is heading to the upstart Detroit Lions. By the way, that team really scary in the NFC this upcoming season. You think about what they've done in that secondary. They signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They signed Cam Sutton. They signed Emmanuel Mosley. They already were red hot to end the year last year, and that team continuing to grow under that new regime. I think the Lions are going to be a factor in this conference in 2023, but the immediate reaction going back to that, why were the Eagles not willing to go 1 year, $6.5 million worth up to $8 million on that deal for CJ Gardner-Johnson? Well, it came out and trickled out moments after from Jeff McLeod that the Eagles did make an effort to bring back CD Deuce, and they made a multi-year offer in free agency, but he was looking for more. The Eagles, after he moved on, also moved on and signed James Bradberry, extended Darius Slay. CJ Gardner-Johnson and his agent overvalued not realizing the safety market, which we're about to take a look at, and the league viewed him as a risk. So what Gardner-Johnson did, he settled for a prove-it deal. And what the Eagles did after he decided to look elsewhere for a longer-term deal worth more money that he never actually got, they signed Darius Slay, restructured his deal, signed an extension with Philadelphia, 2 years, $42 million, $23 million guaranteed. And before that, they brought back James Bradberry. The 1-2 punch in this secondary is returning. It was one of the highly rated cornerback duos in the National Football League last year. Now they both return. Bradberry signing that 3-year, $38 million deal with $20 million guaranteed. Obviously, that safety spot is vacant right now, and hang on, because at the end of today's show, free agency and draft options, a lot of good names out there. But let's go back to that CJ Gardner-Johnson deal, because his agency did tweet this out after Jeff McLeod's tweet and his report about the Eagles originally offering him a long-term contract extension. Universal Sports Management, perception versus reality. 1 year that is real against a 3-year fake contract. Which sounds better to you? And we're going to pose it to the audience. A 1-year deal worth $8 million, which is what CJ Gardner-Johnson got from the Detroit Lions, or the Eagles deal, 3-year deal, $24 million max, with $17 million plus in year 3. Which one are you taking? Mic drop. Now, I don't think it's a mic drop, because I actually think the Eagles deal is better. I'd rather have the long-term financial security, the long-term contract over a 1-year prove-it deal in a league that stands for not for long. But which deal would you take? Let us know down in the comment section. E for the Eagles deal or L for the Lions. My take on this: Dummy years and contracts in the NFL are a thing. But I'm taking the $24 million max deal with $17 million coming my way in year 3. Oftentimes with NFL contracts, you have to look at the guaranteed money at signing and the guaranteed money throughout the duration of that contract. Dummy years are a thing as a way to manipulate the cap, and Howie Roseman has gotten so good at that. But I'd rather just stay with the Philadelphia Eagles if I'm putting myself in the shoes of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Why is that? Well, on top of what we talked about, football is a brutal game, and there's no promise that you're going to get another deal. So I'd rather have that long-standing financial security as compared to just that 1 year prove-it deal, because you're not sure what's going to happen. As for the safety market, it dried up fast. It dried up in a hurry. It dried up very, very quickly. And it became clear after a couple of these deals were signed that CJ Gardner-Johnson was not going to get the money that he thought he deserved. Julian Love went from the New York Giants to the Seattle Seahawks. $6 million, the average annual value, a total 2-year deal worth $12 million. Jordan Poyer, a really good player, got less. Here he signed with the Buffalo Bills. Eagles, great, by the way. 2-year deal. $10 million contract, 4.5 guaranteed, and it was actually Jessie Bates who made the biggest splash among all safeties. And after that, that's when the safety market really did shrink. And all these other teams across the NFL were very hesitant in giving big money and longer-term duration contracts to some of the safeties out there after Bates signed that 4-year, $64 million contract. $36 million guaranteed, a large chunk of that guaranteed at signing. Pretty fascinating what happened with that safety market. And after Jessie Bates signed that deal, Atlanta's probably like, shit, did we overreact? Did we pay a little bit too much? Yeah, maybe. I think so. So with that, let's ask you this before we take a look at the top free agency and draft safeties available. Will the Eagles miss CD Deuce? Played safety, tied for an NFL high with 6 interceptions, even though he went out in Week 12 after getting hurt against the Green Bay Packers. Could also play slot nickel corner. Why for yes and for no. So coming up next, a lot of pretty intriguing veteran options are out there in free agency, and a couple of young bucks as well, as the Eagles are armored with a lot of draft capital. But before we do that, today's show is made possible thanks to Athletic Greens. I take this supplement every single day, and because of that, it's a supplement that means a lot to me. I started taking AG1 on a daily basis because I wanted sustained energy levels. I wanted to improve my gut health. I wanted to strengthen my immune system, and AG1 has been able to do all of that and more. Given my work schedule at Chat Sports combined with my training regimen as I'm closing in on 300 straight days on my running streak, I just needed an energy boost. I wanted to improve my immune system. I could not afford to get sick. Who loves to get sick? But also, I love to grind and hustle, as you saw last week during free agency. I take AG1 every morning. As part of my routine, it sets the table for the rest of my day. It's helped improve my gut health. It's boosted my energy, supports my immune system, and helps me recover. Sometimes I take it before my workouts and or after I get done working out, whether that's cross-training, lifting, or running. It sets the table for the rest of my day. I've also really prioritized my health over the last couple of years. That's why I love AG1 and its 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. I mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water, drink it first thing each morning before and after my workouts. I also love that something that's this good for you in prioritizing your health costs less than $3 a day. Make an investment in your health, right? One body, one life. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, Athletic Greens has given the Bird Gang a great deal. $20 off your purchase, free 1-year supply of vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. Link is available in the comment section and in the description of this video. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson replacements. Let's get to it now on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Appreciate all of you who are still hanging out with us. Give me a real one if that's the case in the comment section. Taylor Rapp has visited with a couple of teams with the Los Angeles Rams last year. 92 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups. Really solid player, the product out of Washington. A familiar name who we talked about last week, and we'll go in depth here, Jalen Mills. A lot of people remember him as a corner, but at this point of his career, he could play safety for this team with that lack of speed. And with Philadelphia, also did play safety. You look at his positional breakdown and how many games he's played and at what position he's played at. In 2016, defensive back. 2017, left corner. 2018, left corner. 2019, left corner. Those 2 years, 2018, 2019, combined to only play 17 games because of injury. Comes back in 2020, plays 15 games at free safety. He then gets signed by the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick uses him as kind of a chess piece, a guy who can kind of go all around the field. He made plays. He played well. He's more of a salary cap cut to save about $5 million. 2021, played right cornerback. 2022, overall cornerback throughout his career. 89 games, 75 starts. Getting a little bit longer in the tooth for the former late-round pick out of LSU, but I think he could be a good scheme fit. You bring him back, he brings you some of that swagger that you're losing with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. 52 pass breakups in those 89 games to go alongside 361 tackles and 7 interceptions. Adrian Amos, shout out to Penn State. Nice little win in the NCAA tournament before falling yesterday over the weekend against Texas. Adrian Amos, a Penn State product. He's played some really good football for the Green Bay Packers over the last couple of years and has put together a pretty impressive career over the last couple of years. 102 tackles in 2022, 1 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups. Another familiar Philadelphia Eagle, a guy who was in the secondary during that 2017 team, it is Rodney McLeod. Him and Malcolm Jenkins formed to be a very good safety tandem for Philadelphia. He was one of the higher graded safeties in the NFL this past year after he left Philadelphia and signed with the Indianapolis Colts on a 1-year deal. Like Jalen Mills, getting a little bit older, but can still play. 96 tackles. You can trust him on that back end to wrap guys up. Pretty good instincts that makes up for at least some of the lost athleticism. 2 interceptions and 8 pass breakups for him. A great leader for this Eagles organization when he was here. A guy who I would really like is Kevin Byard, who was let go by the Tennessee Titans. He is a very, very good player. 108 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups last year for Tennessee. This is a guy who can get the job done. Pretty good range, pretty good instincts. I like his veteran leadership skills, his play diagnosing skills as well. And I still think that there's some gas left in the tank. Like a lot of these other guys, they were not retained by their teams and they were let go because of salary cap implications. And for Kevin Byard, 108 tackles a year ago, not really a box safety as evidenced by the 0 tackles for loss, but good instincts on that back end, as I said. 6 pass breakups and 4 interceptions, 17 games played. Also is a very solid scheme fit for Sean Desai. And then there is Terrell Edmunds, 6'1", 217, went to Virginia Tech, played with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 5 pass breakups, which continues to be a theme here among some of these guys who we're talking about. They have a knack for making plays on the football. 70 tackles for him. Could be a cheaper option, kind of like what the Eagles did a couple of off seasons ago with Anthony Harris going to Philly from the Minnesota Vikings. So which safety do you want the Eagles to sign to replace CJ Gardner-Johnson? Let me know. But if it's a draft option, hold on, because we're getting to that right now. Without further ado, safety draft targets in the 2023 NFL Draft. There are a lot of good ones here, and these players are going to be ranging from being available at pick number 30 to the 2nd round, 3rd round, and beyond, depending on how the draft board falls. I like Brian Branch a lot. He is not going to wow you with his athleticism, but in terms of just making plays, being the leader of a defense, playing under Nick Saban, and being that security blanket on that back end, I like him a lot. His instincts are phenomenal, and a guy who can really read what's coming from the opposing offense. Antonio Johnson, very good player out of Texas A&M, a guy who I also really like. Jammie Robinson out of Florida State. A lot of people like the athletic profile of J.L. Skinner. He's tall and extremely long and rangy. The Fighting Illini, Illinois, they had one of the best defenses in college football last year, led by Devin Witherspoon, who we've talked about as a corner target at number 10. Not sure if Philadelphia is going to go corner now after signing Greedy Williams, bringing back James Bradbury and Darius Slay, but also on that back end, Sidney Brown, a stud. He's kind of climbing up draft boards right now. Jordan Battle played opposite of Brian Branch at Alabama. Good player. Ji-Ayir Brown is a second or third round pick. Played awesome at Penn State. This is a guy you can stick in the box. He can make plays behind the line of scrimmage and in that secondary. Jartavius Martin, out of Illinois. Couple of safety tandems here. Branch Battle, and then you also have Martin as well as Sidney Brown. Jartavius Martin, a good player. Cameron Mitchell out of Northwestern, a player to keep your eye on. And then Daniel Scott out of California. 10 safety draft targets right there for Philadelphia, and a lot of guys who people are very high on with the NFL draft coming up at the end of April. Look, folks, this is why you subscribe. Does anybody do what we're doing? I don't think so. And if you want to share this video, we greatly appreciate it, as we said off the start of the program. But also, if you want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, you see me right here. On Twitter, at Chase_Senior. On Instagram, at Chase_Senior as well. You know, I have that legacy blue check mark, and I just logged in today. Saw Elon Musk has taken away two-factor authentication for those who aren't paying for Twitter Blue. I don't understand it. And even though I don't understand it, I still use Twitter and I still love it. Hit me up on either one of these social media platforms. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on the show.